Hey guys, what's up? So did you know that Apple recently released iOS 18.7.7 for all iOS 18 devices, including those that are capable of 26? But there's a catch. You cannot install it if you've already updated to 26. But anyways, if you're still on iOS 18, or even something slightly older, you might want to consider updating to iOS 18.7.7. If you frequently use Safari or any web browser app on your iPhone or iPad frequently, and you're still on iOS 18, I would definitely recommend updating to 18.7.7 because it patches the very serious DarkSword exploit that targets a lot of iOS 18. It is great that Apple actually released this update without restricting it to devices that are stuck at iOS 18 at maximum. And if you're asking how to update to iOS 18.7.7, if you still haven't gotten 26 yet, you go to your Settings, General, Software Update, and then you have to scroll down to the lower part where it says iOS 18.7.7, because at the top it'll have a big section where it wants you to update to iOS 26.4. If you scroll down, you'll see an option for 18.7.7. Note that if you select iOS 18 beta updates, you won't see the option to get 18.7.7. You have to turn off iOS beta updates if you want to access that 18.7.7 update. And note that if you have, say, a tvOS 26 profile currently installed on your device, you'll have to remove it and then update to 18.7.7 and then put it back if you'd like. And if you have any devices running an iOS between 13.0 and 17.2.1, you may have seen this critical software update needed alert recently because of the Karuna exploit. And now, devices running older versions of iOS 18 are also expected to get an alert like this because of DarkSword. If you're on an older iOS 18 version, so basically any iOS 18 before 18.7.7, and you don't want to move to iOS 26, the iOS 18.7.7 update is now a great time to update, especially if you use Safari frequently. And if you decide to update your iPhone or iPad to iOS 18.7.7, after you update, make sure to turn off the automatic update settings, or else your device may inadvertently auto-update to iOS 26. And keep in mind that once you go to iOS 26, you can never go back to anything earlier. And if you're still on, say, iOS 16 or 17, and you want to update to a newer iOS for better app support, now is a great time to do so without going all the way to iOS 26. If you are unable to update to iOS 18.7.7 due to low storage, you should consider disabling JavaScript in your Safari settings because the DarkSword exploit relies on JavaScript. Or you may even want to turn on lockdown mode. And you can always turn off lockdown mode if you don't like it. If you don't like lockdown mode and you can't update to iOS 18.7.7 and don't want 26, you should absolutely at least turn off JavaScript in your Safari settings to help protect yourself against the DarkSword exploit, because it's apparently possibly the most serious iOS exploit security risk we've ever seen. So here's my final verdict. Should you update to iOS 18.7.7? Well, that entirely depends on how often you use Safari or any web browser app on your iPhone or iPad. And also, it depends on the device model and iOS version you're currently on. And if you want me to give you advice on whether you should update to 18.7.7 or not, you should comment what device model and iOS version you currently have, and I'll reply with some advice. Thanks for watching.